So how long does a workout have to be in order to build muscle? My question to you would first be, how hard are you willing to train? Guys, if you look at the first thing, let's say a dumbbell bench press. Now, if I were to just simply ask you to perform a set to failure, which I always do, I've been asking you for 15 years to perform your sets to failure, and I've been consistent with that for a reason, because I know that you need an adequate level of stimulus for that muscle to even want to change, right? There's an old saying, if you don't challenge yourself, you won't change yourself. Well, let's just say we're getting towards, let's say, a set of 12, and your last few reps look like this. That's like 10, 11, and 12, right? That's not enough. For every one of those sets that you perform below failure, you're going to need to perform more of them in order to reach an adequate level of volume or stimulus to change. What I'd rather see is a set that looks like this. So I'll kind of fast forward to the end of the set for you and simulate what I'm talking about. When I get towards those final few reps, they should look like this. Okay, that was hard. Press, I'm really grinding through. Here, now, really fight to get up to the top here. A lot of you would say, there's no way I can do another repetition on this. There's no way I can get another concentric. Try. The exercise has built-in safety net here. You can always drop the dumbbells if you have to, but try. Go down again. Realize that there's only a sticking point from here to about here that you have to get through. And you might surprise yourself that once you do, the weights will go up again for another repetition. Now go down again, because each time I go down, I'm getting at least another eccentric repetition. And I know that I've got more eccentrics in me than concentrics on any set, because I'm stronger that way. So now I go up again, and if I can't get any more, I can at least do a few repetitions down here trying, and finally, I reach failure. What did that do? The weight that was in my hands created tension. The time that I was pushing in these elongated states, these more stretched positions of the pec, caused tension. There's no magic to lengthened partials. That's nonsense. That's not what that's about. It's a matter of accumulating total tension. And because you have two factors there, stretching a muscle, that's tension, and loading a muscle, that's tension, those are going to be more productive. So by giving myself a few additional eccentric repetitions, more tension, and by giving a few different partial repetitions, more tension, I can guarantee that you reach failure. And that's the key. I don't know, subjectively looking at you, how short of failure you actually were. You thought 1, I bet you it was 4. If you took Chris Bumstead's brain, or mine, with people that have experience training, and we put it in your head at the moment that you reached that first set that I showed you, and you said, yeah, I'm done, I guarantee Bumstead's pushing 4 or 5 more than that. And I'm likely pushing 3 or 4 because I'm no Bumstead, right? But the fact is, there's more in you. And if you had the brain and the willpower that knew what you were capable of, you would do and push more and get more out of that set. When you do that, the volume comes down. Because remember this, you either train long or you train hard, but you cannot do both. So as you increase the difficulty level of the sets, then you decrease the time you need to spend doing them. Let me show you something else. We have a technique here that we call effective reps. What this means is if I can get more of those effective reps out, then again, I can shorten the time that I have to do an exercise or even a workout in general. So if I took the bench press again and I took a set to failure all the way up and I go, let's say, getting down towards the end of the set, and I'm talking true muscle failure, which means, again, getting that last rep, testing myself again. Can I get another one? Maybe this time I can't. Maybe I can't even get past that sticking point, and I try another rep or two. Just I can't. I've reinforced that I've reached failure. Great. The rest time now. If I keep this rest time short, 30 seconds at most, when I get back into this set again, I'm not going to need to go through the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth repetition to get to those more difficult repetitions. I go back into it now. First rep out of the box, it's already difficult, right? These are the ones that feel like the ones that came at 9, 10, 11, and 12 on the last set. Now they're already feeling like that on reps 1, 2, and 3. And therefore, these are those growth-inducing, end-of-set, high-intensity repetitions that cause that growth. That's an effective rep. I don't care that my overall rep count went down. I rest again 30 seconds. I get back into it again. What happens? Fewer repetitions for sure, but each one of them at that high end, right? That one that has the high effort required to perform them. Now I'm accumulating a lot more of these effective repetitions, and in doing so, increasing the intensity and shortening the length of the workout. There are other techniques where you can actually slow down the reps a little bit to increase the overall intensity. You've probably heard of time under tension, but you have to be careful there too, because slowing down or manipulating your time to an exaggerated amount where it actually starts to limit the amount of weight that you can actually use on the exercise is going to not really result in more muscle hypertrophy, because you're taking down both of those stimuli. Number one, I said the amount of weight in your hand creates the tension on the muscle. So if you get too light in order to accommodate whatever technique you're doing, then you're not going to build muscle. The same token, you do want to try to accelerate as much as possible on the concentric part of the lift in general when you're trying to maximize hypertrophy, because it recruits those type 2 fibers, the ones that grow bigger and stronger. So by manipulating a slow speed and by lightening the weight because you do that, you're going to actually compromise that. However, I don't just focus always on, let's say, building bigger muscles, because I know that part of this game is not just looking better, but feeling better. As a physical therapist, I know how important it is with all the considerations people have, like joint issues. How do we still train and still get the benefits of intensity and therefore shorter workouts? Well, there's a technique that we use called a trap set, where you would take that weight, right, something between your 10 and 12 rep max, and what you do is you do apply a tempo here, where you press up at 1 second and come down on 1 second. And the second rep is up for 2 seconds, so a little bit slower. Come down for 2 seconds, right? Go up for 3 seconds and come down for 3 seconds. And then we're going to peak out at 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and come down 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you just reverse your way back down again, going to 4, 2, 3, 4, and down 2, 3, 4. Up in 3 and down in 3, right? Up in 2 and down in 2, and then faster at the end, up in 1 and down in 1. So what that's doing is still allowing us to experience the faster repetitions starting and ending that set, but we're grading that muscle recruitment, because people that do have injuries don't have necessarily the ability to do that safely. So when you allow that to grade up, you're able to have the protection of the joint in the process and still have a high intensity set. Again, even some of the slower repetitions, especially eccentrically, are providing more stimulus because that same weight is being applied over a longer period of time and spending more time in those high tension areas where they're more stretched. So the bottom line is that technique is perfect for somebody that has some issues, some joint issues or pains, where they can go a little bit more slowly, but not where they're sacrificing the weight so much in the process that they're actually completely eliminating the stimulus for growth. So there's different techniques for different people that will allow you to grow, but you gotta know which ones to use. But the intensity techniques ensure failure. And failure is going to be the only objective way to sort of level the playing field so that I know you're working out at a hard enough level of intensity. And when you do that, yes, the workouts can be short. The only way they're going to be short, though, is if you're bringing that effort. And it's what we've been preaching here forever. We don't bounce back and forth at Athlete Next in terms of whether it's good or whether it's not good. We've always said if you train hard, you do not have to train long, because you can only do one of them. If you're going to train hard with intensity techniques like this, you're going to be able to train for a much shorter period of time. If you're looking, guys, we have programs that have incorporated this since the very beginning of time, all of them, with safety as one of the factors we look at always. As a physical therapist, you can find our programs, including our new Athlete Express program coming this week over at athlenex.com. All right, guys, I hope you found it helpful. Make sure you're doing something to increase the intensity of your workouts if you want to get more from them. All right, guys, see you soon.